Welcome to the Jaron Jarvis channel. I am Jaron Jarvis. Today, I would like to introduce to you, A Hell Made Out of Ice Part 2. Day 1. I don't think that I'm going to survive this. Things went from bad to worse today. And I don't know how much I can still take before I break. Which part of burn him did you fail to comprehend? I asked Spears angrily as we were making our way to the others. Well, go on. Try to light a fucking fire in this fucking blizzard, you dipshit, he responded. With Crane and Stevens dead, or worse, there was only 5 of us left now, me, Jamie, Spears, Omar, and Mark. They were all gathered in the canteen. Thank God they locked the doors after they brought Stevens outside. Something is going on with Crane's body in the lab, Jamie said as we entered the room. Oh great. Was it really not enough to kill him? I went to take a look. The brown fluid had created a puddle around Dr. Crane's remains. There were no signs of blood or any other bodily fluids in the fluid. It was pristine. His body was already decaying, much faster than it should have, it seemed. But the most striking thing was a shiny grey spike pointing out of Crane's abdomen, and his veins were filled with something dark. It was visible through the thin skin. What on earth is happening here? Jamie and Spears, make sure that nobody will ever be able to get in or out of the lab. Mark, Omar, come with me. We're going outside to search for Stevens. Nobody stays alone from this point on. Only as I stepped into the cold had it struck me that this might not have been the best idea. The visibility was really poor, even with the powerful flashlights we had. Even though we put on multiple layers of extreme temperature clothing, we could still feel the freezing wind sucking the heat out of our very bones. We had 2 shotguns. I had one and Omar had the other. Mark was armed with a fire axe. There weren't many places where Stevens could be. He was not at the generator. He also wasn't at the vehicles, nor the radio antenna. There was only one place left to check, the stockpile. We had about a dozen of shipping containers permanently parked outside. It was mostly spare parts, survival supplies, emergency stocks of food and water, things that we didn't need on a daily basis. That would take up too much space to be stored in the cozy temperature-controlled interior of the station. I wanted to avoid the stockpile, because it was like a small maze. But if Stevens was still alive, we couldn't let him mess with the outside equipment. Mainly the generator. If he takes it out, we'll freeze to death in a matter of hours. What made me most angry was the fact that if Spears had been competent enough to burn Stevens, we wouldn't have had to come here at all. We immediately noticed that one of the containers was not shut properly. Even before I read the sign, I had correctly guessed what's inside. Food. We carefully opened the doors and peeked inside. Strips of cardboard and ruined packages littered the floor. Omar stayed outside to guard the container while I went inside with Mark to inspect the damage. The container held food worth several weeks for the entire expedition. About a third of it was now gone. Blake, Mark whispered in such low and shake voice, that I was unsure if it isn't just the howling of the wind. I turned and stared into the beam of his light. I did not want to believe my eyes. Without a sound, without a single movement, we stood there, watching each other. Frozen. How the fuck did we not notice it as we went inside? A mass of what once used to be Stevens was pressed against the ceiling. His body was also covered with tumors the same way as Crane was, but there weren't so many. His jaw was hanging loose, dislocated, revealing a gaping hole of his disgustingly wide throat. His abdomen was bloated beyond what can be described by words. His skeleton must have been broken and rearranged 1,000 times to accommodate this shape. I was so terrified that I felt as if all of my life energy drained out of me. I couldn't move. Ages would have passed until I collected enough courage to raise my shotgun and pull the trigger. Click. It all happened so fast. I was sure that I was going to die here, or worse. The shotgun jammed. Probably because of the cold Omar. I called. He wasn't fast enough though. The abomination dropped down from the ceiling and with one swift movement, sucked Mark's arm into its throat like a noodle. Shots were fired. With a guttural growl, the creature spit out Mark's arm and fled away. The thick layers of clothing had almost completely melted away from his arm. I didn't want to think about what would happen if he hadn't worn them. "Are you all right, man?" Omar asked. Mark didn't answer. He was too shocked to do anything. I knew that he wouldn't be all right. I had to do something. I picked up his axe and raised the blade above my head, in preparations of a strike. I watched him for a moment. He watched me. Maybe this could save him. I don't know if he was aware of it, or if his mind had just completely shut down at this point. He didn't even flinch as the axe struck with a bang. I couldn't do it. Not in the state I were in, at least. I just threw the axe on the ground. We returned to the station and locked Mark inside his room with enough food and water for a few days. He didn't like it. But we couldn't take any chances. He was lucky to even be alive. I think I saw a figure watching us in the blizzard. Jamie came to see me later that day. "Can I trust you, Blake?" she asked. "What do you mean?" "I snuck into Crane's lab during the night. I took his notes and computer drives. I know what you think, but don't worry, I didn't touch anything. I mean, well, you know, anything that shouldn't be touched. Was it worth it? I think you should see it." I wasn't even sure if I wanted to see Dr. Crane's research, but it was still better than watching the blizzard from behind a window. I needed a distraction. Was I even surprised when I found out that Dr. Crane's research is gone? Yeah, right. Someone took the research from Jamie. We searched the whole station. Every corner. It's gone. Why would somebody take it and hide it? Could Stevens get inside and take it? No, that's impossible. I trust Jamie enough to know that she wouldn't make this up. Either Stevens got inside and took it, or it was someone on the team. It's too hard to tell which alternative is worse. Either way, we had a serious breach of security here. I couldn't sleep that night. Not after everything that happened. For hours, I sat in front of the window to Dr. Crane's lab, observing the situation. The spike had grown in size and started branching out. I think it was using Crane's body as food. I couldn't wrap my head around it. What was this thing? What was its purpose? Everything has a purpose. Can't sleep. Omar interrupted my thoughts, not surprised. Me neither, he continued. He brought another chair from the canteen and joined my observation. "What do you think is happening over there?" he asked. "I don't know. You know, if you think about it, it is beautiful in a strange way." "What?" "I mean, that by ending one life, a new life is created." "Was that this thing's purpose? To end all life on Earth and begin a new one? Why did you come here, Omar?" I asked. "Sorry. I'll go away if you want to be alone." He stood up and turned to leave. "No, wait. That's not what I meant. Why did you come to this place?" "Oh, he sat down and searched for the right words. "I think, I wanted to try something different. I mean, we all live simple day-to-day lives, until one day some drunk moron runs you over with a truck. Or some idiot drug addict hobo stabs you for a few pennies in your wallet. Or you get old and you get a stroke from pushing your shit too hard." We chuckled. I guess I wanted to find an adventure. I wish I could say the same thing. But I would be lying. "How about you, Blake? Why did you come here?" "I like snow." "Really?" He looked at me and raised his eyebrow. "I'm not the kind of person who likes talking about their life. But does it matter if I might be dead by morning anyway?" I wanted to run away from everything back home. As far as I could. For as long as I could. "I see," he said as he turned back to continue staring at the strange metallic organism in the lab. "Tell me something, Blake. You try to be everyone's hero down here. Save everyone, protect everyone, tell everyone what to do. But I think that under your mask, you're the one who needs help. I think that you only do this to hide your own emotions. Is it fear, or is it anger? Both.